Okay, so we already know that in many African countries, land ownership is fraught with issues such as falsified documents, corruption, family disputes, and lack of clear legal frameworks. And Ghana is no exception. This lack of transparency, which is a theme I talk about regularly on this channel, hinders the investment and development. Now, I want to talk to you about somewhere in Africa that's got this problem solved and solved in a super efficient way and cost-effective way as well. Now, the country in question is a kind of shining light on resolving this problem, had a very similar context in terms of the issues that they faced. So namely, as land scarcity drastically increased over the years, an active informal land market emerged to meet the demand, causing a significant rise in land prices and land conflicts. Land price inflation reached rates of up to 25% per year in both rural and urban areas, while in 2001, more than 80% of court cases involved land disputes. Sound familiar? Now, this is certainly a familiar tale. If you are deep enough in the system here in Ghana, you will hear about the sheer volume of land disputes that take place in Accra especially, so the urban area. It can take years upon years going through an inefficient court system to get your right documentation, title, etc., to claim ownership. And even then, culturally and logically, possession is 9/10 of the law. You need to build to make sure you protect your land. You can lose all your money in land in Africa, not because of the market, but because of the Rwanda's government recognized that land disputes were one of the core factors influencing the conflict around the genocide. In 2004, they made land reform a national priority written into the new constitution. So listen to the context that we're talking about now. 80% of court cases involve land disputes, similar to what's happening in Ghana right now. But the political will and the discipline and the rewriting of the constitution to enable land to be dealt with in a efficient and fit for purpose manner has been at the heart of Rwanda's transformation around their land system. So their objective was to replace the informal customary tenure with clear, legal, digitized land ownership for every single plot in the country. So what did Rwanda do to make this happen? In 2004, they passed the National Land Policy and the 2005 Organic Land Law, making everyone legally committed to equitable access and formal titles. They built a process called the land tenure regularization. It required a mobilization of over 110,000 people to help identify, demarcate, and register over 11 million plots of land across the country. Next, they were deliberate with their technology, using tech-driven land mapping of ownership. They used aerial photography and GIS systems to digitize parcel boundaries, and they created a land administration information system, a national database integrating spatial maps, legal data ownership and rights. They made this a community-driven implementation, trained and deployed 110,000 field agents, recording 11 million plots directly from households, registered ownership, disputes, and community feedback. Rwanda have been able to, with political will, discipline, and focus over the long term, build a system that works and enables fair ownership of property rights. They then provided digital access for citizens, introducing an e-title, a public portal where citizens can download their land title online and others can search to understand who owns what. If you go into Ghana right now, their land processes, anyone could rock up to the Lands Commission and start making searches. This has a formalized, centralized national database. Rwanda have done massive things in this area. Now, what was the result? Rwanda registered 11 million plots in just 5 years at $6 cost per plot, which is a global record for cost effectiveness. Nobody in the West could do it that way. This is the kind of innovation that Africa needs to leverage and build on. Economic benefits. Land-related government revenue increased 5 times in 4 years. Governments are able to better collect land-related tax or property-related tax, which is a good thing. Governments need to be making revenues in order to be able to spend better and spend more efficiently. Land can now be used as collateral for loans and investment tools. So now all of a sudden, if you own land, like many Ghanaians do own land, that can be leveraged to help support acceleration of business effort. It's a win-win. Transparency is always a win-win. It's going to attract more foreign direct investment because you're using tools that people can assess their investment correctly without the fear of losing their investment. And it brought about gender and social equality. There was thousands of titles in women's names for the first time in history. Rwanda moved from 137th to 4th in the World Bank Ease of Registering Property Index, 137th to 4th. Now, you may be wondering, why hasn't Ghana done this already? It's not without the intent. Several governments have highlighted a need for this or a desire to do it. However, in practice, when it comes to it, the application and the long-term vision and the long-term discipline has gone awry or has been waning. Undoubtedly, Rwanda's had benefited from having long-term leadership in place for decades. So therefore, vision can be manifested. However, in democratic 4-year cycles, it's difficult to eradicate long-term issues when the system incentivizes short-term gain. Some of that short-term gain may be enjoyed by few individuals who hold the information or the assets that enable them to accelerate their own wealth, as opposed to enabling the system by providing transparency and public systems, public databases that enable general investment to increase. That's why we built Kuro. We know Ghana and other countries are data poor. So enabling visibility around pricing, respective infrastructure projects, all of a sudden opens up your opportunities for negotiating better deals, understanding the market, pricing effectively, and even from a developer perspective, knowing where to position your developments in the future. If you're working in real estate, policy, or tech, ask yourself, why can't this be applied to Ghana, Nigeria, or Kenya, or wherever you are? Role can you play in driving this kind of impact? I'm working in tech. I'd love to play a role in that with my team who are Ghanaians and passionate about solving issues like this. Have you had issues around land disputes, land guards? And how would a system like this work for you and work for Ghana? Do you see the benefits that it could bring about? Let us know down below in the comments. If you like this video, I'm sure you like this one where we talk about why transparency is an imperative enabler to better real estate systems and governance. Until next time, family and friends, talk soon. Bye-bye.